はい、よろしくお願いします。This is the Sunday Talk from Daishu-in West. I'm Koju. Thank you for tuning in. It's looking like it might be a rainy day here at the temple. We've officially entered into our fall pattern. And of course, from here on out, the days get shorter, the weather gets rainier, and we spend more time in the zendo and less doing samu. So that's exciting. I appreciate the fall. When we start to anticipate the new term. The terms at the monastery always change around the equinoxes. So you get through the equinox, and the summer term begins, and then you get through the equinox, and the winter term begins, and it's always a period of a little bit of change and excitement to get into the new period. And I wanted to address that a little bit because somebody asked me this last week. What is a Rinzai Zen temple anyway? What does that mean? It's all very well. People ask about the temple, and you say, "Oh well, Daishu-in West, you're welcome to come anytime. It's a Rinzai Zen temple," and that isn't actually particularly useful information for many people. People watching this channel might know it all already, but it's never a bad idea to review fundamentals. Zen, of course, is a Japanese word, and it refers to a pretty small Buddhist sect, not exclusively Japanese. There are other lineages in Southeast Asia, and I'm sure other places, that identify as Zen. And within that, there are several different denominations. There's Soto and Rinzai and Obaku. And Soto is much larger, and Rinzai is a fairly minor denomination within that sect. And the name of it comes from a priest, Rinzai, who lived during the 9th century in China. And so this is named after him, and the lineage, the way of doing things stems from him. He is said to have sort of reformed the outlook on religion and practice back then. I mean, there were several giants in a row after the sixth patriarch in China, and the Rinzai school stems from a few generations of these just monumental practitioners. And I think Soto takes a lot of a similar, as a similar lineage. I don't really know. I have no experience at all, really, with Soto temples. But in general, the differences, when you say, okay, well, what does that mean? How does that compare to something else? How could Rinzai compare to Soto? Rinzai has perhaps a reputation for being severe. And I don't know what to compare it to, because, as I say, I have no experience with Soto. However, I think there's a difference between saying that something is severe and something just being about a particular thing. And it is just about something. It is just that thing, and how you feel about it, the person experiencing that for the first time, approaching that edifice, this lineage that has come down from the 9th century and before, from China. There's a difference. We can call it severity. It's a applicable adjective. Severe. It's an applicable description. However, it's applicable because it is just so vast that it doesn't. I mean, you're just an ant next to it, right? And how you relate to that is completely up to you. how you approach that, what you do with that, is solely your responsibility. And my impression is that in other ways of doing things, that is different. How the person coming to the thing is included, or how they experience, what they are coming to, this edifice that they are approaching, is different. And as way of illustration, I think we should go back to the original sources and look at the Rinzai Roku, the record of Rinzai, and particularly his one of his most famous sermons, which is the master takes the high seat in the hall and he says, within each of you is a true man of no rank that is always going in and out of the gates of your faces. Those of you who have not yet recognized him, look. So to say that again, Master Rinzai, this 9th century Chinese Zen master, takes the seat, the teaching seat, in the hall where he's been asked to give a lecture, and he sits down and he says, within each of you is a true person of no rank who is always going in and out of the gates of your face. Those of you who have not yet recognized him, look. And it seems a little confusing at first, maybe. But if we put ourselves in the context of 9th century China, we have to appreciate, I think Yuho-san, Thomas Kirshner says in the Ruth Fuller Sasaki annotated version of the record of Rinzai, I think he says that this term, a true man, is originally a Taoist term, and it refers to like a perfected being, like a bodhisattva perhaps. So within each of you is this true person, this perfected being, of no rank, he says, a true person of no rank. And so if we're in the context of 9th century China and somebody says to you, a person with no rank, it's a ridiculous thing to say. It's an impossibility. Your entire life was determined by what rank you were, where you were socially. And there was no, well, maybe, you could pass the imperial examination or something and you could be a government official, and there was some mobility, but there was extremely little mobility. And if the mobility that existed was extremely well defined and everybody was paying attention to it. So there was, your rank in society was your whole thing. That was your life. That was what you were. The idea that there is somebody that just doesn't have that, is a mind-blowing statement. And a true person, he's likely speaking to monks. So he's saying there's a perfected person that has no rank. It's not like they've perfected themselves and so they've surpassed all those ranks and they're like above it or anything like that. It just doesn't exist for them. There is a true person, a perfected being with no rank, who is always, moment by moment, going in and out of the gates of your face. The gates of the face being the eyes, ears, mouth, nose, ears, eyes, ears, mouth, nose. Yeah, all the bits. And so, what is he indicating? He's like, those of you who have not yet confirmed this, look. This is the first thing he says. Here's the calligraphy. Master Rinzai says this. Ichimui no shinnin, this true person of no rank, is always going out of the gates of your face. You know, look, confirm him. Those of you who have not yet confirmed him, look. Just look. So he's indicating, we talk about this every week, this activity which manifests itself everywhere, in the hearing, in the seeing, in the touch, and the taste. However it arises, moment by moment, in the sound of a car passing by on the road, and the sound of my voice coming through the speakers, or the sun going in and out between the clouds, that activity, that magnificent beingness arising and disappearing moment by moment by moment, that is this true person, the one who knows the arising of that manifestation and the knowing of it happen together. They are not separate. It is one thing. That arising is already ourselves. It already is that true person. The sun comes out. There it is. The sun goes away. There it is. Moment by moment. But when we're caught up in details, when we're caught up in being Koju or being whoever you are watching this, we miss that. We miss that miraculous arising. And we're caught up in whatever we're hooked on at the moment, whatever has caught us, and we've contracted into a little ball that's stuck on this thing. Or maybe not. Maybe we're happy, but we're kind of stuck being happy. We're like really excited about being happy, and there's this tension there, we're really like, we're having a good time. Because we're fixated on it. I mean, because we're really consciously enjoying it. We don't want to lose that happiness. We don't want to lose that moment of contentment or satisfaction. But there's this lively activity of this true man of no rank, this true person of no rank, is not constrained in that way. It is never constrained by anything ever. It is always lively and free, appearing here as this, appearing there as that, moment by moment by moment by moment. And it requires attention and practice and devotion, consistent attention over time in order to appreciate that, in order to establish ourselves in that awareness and not always hung up in the contracted self. So first we confirm that, we see that, and then maybe we lose it and have to, come back and this is what practice is. It's just noticing the liveliness that always exists. But we have to do it. And it's not easy. The habits of ourself are hard. They are difficult. They are entrenched. It is painful to go against those familiar grooves. And if we just say, this is about that liveliness, this is about that true person of no rank, that is what this teaching is. And that's all. I mean, how you feel about it, whatever your grooves are, whatever your habits are, wherever the friction occurs for you, has nothing to do with that. The thing is about what it's about. Is that severe? we could call it severe. It doesn't care how you feel about it. I mean, maybe that's severe. But I don't think there's a better way. I don't think it is actually productive. I don't think it's actually helpful for us to kind of adjust, to kind of customize the lineage, the way of doing things, and try and make it more to our liking so that maybe we continue a little bit longer, or maybe we feel a little bit better about what we're doing, or whatever it is. You know, there are clearly, I don't, again, not something I'm an authority on, but there are clearly 10,000 different ways of being a Buddhist in America, and they all have sort of customized something traditional in some way or another, with generally, in my opinion, pretty lousy results. The thing is about what it is about, and we do with it whatever we do with it. And it is up to you. It is your own personal responsibility to make the best of your opportunities. And if you do not, then you don't get it. I mean, you're not going to see the thing. You are not going to confirm, in this case, in the example we're using today, you will not confirm the true man of no rank, as Master Rinzai exhorts us. And that's fine. Maybe there's something else for you. It's not. It's just this is my technique. My lineage. So make the most of your opportunities. Is my recommendation. If we don't, then we just end up living a half-life. If we do not confirm the liveliness that exists everywhere, all the time, then we end up just living a half-life in the shell of the thing that we call myself. So please reflect on it. Okay. Right. A little bit longer today. Thank you for tuning in. We're having our intro weekend program on October 11th, 2 weeks from now. There's still one slot open if somebody would like to sign up. So you can send me an email at contact@daishu-in-west.org. And I'm terribly sorry about the video from last week. Again, I think my microphone has a loose connection or something. I tested this first and it worked. So assuming that this has audio this week. Arigatou gozaimasu.